Alrighty, the Halloween event is here, and I figured I would go over the Halloween event, what's new, what you should do, and if the monster is even worth spawning. So most people will want to know about the monster first, so let's talk about it. Alice is a really old monster style that they had. Alice was one of the original free-to-play monsters that you could get, and you would have to run her a ton of times. She was super difficult. She had reflection back in the day, and she was a pain in the butt. So let's see how this new revamped Alice is. She is an increased priority. She gives your team cost, applies Iron Wall, which if you don't know, Iron Wall gives you, I believe it gives you concentration, which increases your defense procs, in your main slotted defense procs. She also, Iron Wall also gives you like 40% damage reduction for physical and magical types. And I can't remember if Iron Wall also does one more thing. I think it gives you either Resurrection or Ward. I can't remember. I may be wrong about that, but Iron Wall is an old combination ability that is it used to be excellent. Now it's kind of hit or miss. So we'll see how it pans out. She heals CP, which is excellent. There's not a lot of things that heal CP, and she heals regular HP as well. She applies Phalanx, which is not a good bubble, but it is a bubble, so whatever. And she gives you Dark Quail. She also awakens into 40 cost, Confusion and Prohibit resistance, which is at 70, which is fantastic. Prohibit resistance specifically is amazing. And she gives Serenity, which I love. I love Serenity. The HP stacking is fantastic. Unfortunately, it's not as good as something like Dawn, but the fact that when it expires, you get 100% cost is something I absolutely love. And the reason why is because if you throw this monster and then your opponents go, you get time sliced and time sliced. Unfortunately, you would have to wait, but as long as you didn't lose Serenity during the Unison cycle, after you got time sliced, then you can throw Uni pretty soon after. There's a chance that you can throw Uni in stuff like, in some difficult quests, the enemy monster will constantly be time slicing you, so that can be nice. But in things like PvP, when you're in Colosseum and stuff like that, when you throw this monster, you often get time sliced maybe once or twice, and there's a chance that you can get Uni, or somebody else on your team can get Uni immediately because of that, which is nice. And then, of course, the Dark Element +3. This is a really interesting monster, and although I do love the design, I don't normally talk about the design. I do like the design of this monster. And I like what it gives too. It's not a bad monster. The problem is that a lot of this stuff, like the Iron Wall, the CP gaining, and it looks to me like it's supposed to be a PvP monster, because you don't need healing in PvE. You don't really need Iron Wall in PvE because you need damage. You know, why do you need to buff your defense if you can kill the monsters and like quickly and complete the quest faster? That's generally how people view it, and it is a smart move. Phalanx also is not a good bubble, and Dark Quail is just such a random field. So this looks to me like it's supposed to be some kind of PvE combination with PvP, but it's sad because this would be such a good monster. The thing with healing is that CP recovery is actually incredibly good. People don't realize this, but if you are playing Rook, or if you throw a CP monster, especially one that has increased priority like this, in between your enemy's Unison attacks, you can be gaining CP health. And CP health is way, way higher than regular health. For example, on Berserkers, CP health runs around 7 million, whereas most classes' HPs are around somewhere between 500 to like 800k. So CP, especially for guild battles and Colosseum, is hugely important. And when you have monsters like this that boost your CP gains, this is screaming to me defensive PvP monster, because CP doesn't exist in PvE, and when you're doing quests, there is no CP bar. But everything else is just kind of meh, you know? And then on top of it, and I like Serenity. Don't get me wrong, Dawn is better. There are better options, but I like Serenity just because the uni gain when it expires, I think that effect is fantastic. And she also gives you Prohibit Uni and Confuse. Like, all of this screams PvP, but then there's no defense. Where is the 800 dark defense and the 300 or the 300 to all defense? You know, I would want, instead of this elemental attack, it should be defense, which is just really sad. Honestly, they could have even done both of them. They could have moved Serenity off of Hidden Potential, and they could have replaced this with any kind of defense, and it would have been, this monster honestly would have been probably a 7 out of 10 for PvP. Defensive monsters in general aren't the best for PvP, but specifically for Colosseum, and maybe you can convince me for like a guild battle class, like a guild battle clash, like a time light dark star combo, you could convince me, okay, you want to throw in one defensive monster in case the enemies win, fine, this is a good one. But everything else considered, it's not a good PvP monster. It's maybe like a 4 or 5 out of 10 for PvP. For PvE specifically, there are no buffs. You're getting a field, and that is it. And for you specifically, you're getting a bubble. So 2 out of 10, you know, there are way better options. And given the price, this is like a 235 gem spawn for one monster. Gosh dang, it's got to have some good weapons. Oh shit, the weapons aren't good. All right, better have some good armor procs then. Oh shit, the armor procs suck too. Skip. It's so disappointing, because honestly the monster looks good and some of the weapons look good. It's just not worth it for me particularly, but I think for most people, there's not a lot of classes that would benefit from this type of play. Maybe a Rook main could benefit from something like this, but that's about it. There's not a lot of other classes that can really benefit from this type of style, from this type of monster. It's just unfortunate. So that's that. Now let's talk about other things that came out. There was a free spawn. The Gothic Halloween night is pretty easy. You get a bunch of these tickets. I already spawned mine. Let's talk about Red Riding Hood for a second. She is basically just a backline monster. You throw her in because you need that light elemental attack right there. She's a PvE monster. But can I just, again, I hardly ever talk about monsters, specifically the way that they look. But man, does Red Riding Hood look freaking badass. Why could this not be the monster that you do the step up for, you know? Gosh dang, that's sick. All right, we're moving on. There was a couple other things. Oh, I wanted to talk about the packs too. And I wanted to talk about the Halloween campaign stuff. So they're really going hard on the quartz this time. Daily logins give you a bunch of different quartz fragments. I'm going to go over quartz, and I'm going to make a separate video on some of the changes that they've made. There is this ghost min that will follow you around, and I'll show you him. And you just give him your daily quest stuff, and he will give you some good stuff. And let's see if there's anything else. Some cosmetic stuff, some free, some FP spawn stuff, some furniture spawn stuff. I'll go over that, and some pet spawn stuff. So I'll go over that real quick. So this is the guy right here. If you give him, you have like a bunch of quests that you can do daily and in the next 2 months. But if you do all of the things, you need 1,000 to get everything, which should be easy. And you get a bunch of pretty good stuff. You probably get a total of about 10 gems and a couple drops of ether. A 43 cost monster isn't bad. It's just, it's a nice benefit to running the quest that you would already be running. And let's look at the prestige here. There is no 45 cost in this one either, but 200k is what you'd want to get to the 44 cost monster. I'm not sure why they have not started releasing 45 cost monsters yet, but it is what it is. And I wanted to go over if you spend money, you can get these Halloween packs. There are a few of them. This one in particular is also a pack. There's also an exclusive back gear. Here, let me talk about the exclusive back gear first, because I do not have it equipped, but I did already buy it. It's this one. It's the exact same one as a previous that has white feathers. It's this one, except for they just changed the feather color. But it is a temporary exclusive thing. And let's go over these spawns. So this one particular gives you a 50% chance to get Kroit. Kroit is actually still a fantastic monster for PvP. So let's go over her. She is a little bit older now. She's a year old now. She's a prio monster that reduces uni, time slices, abstracts, which means turns off the enemy's passive abilities. She fills your team's uni and applies Anguish Collapse, which is a negative field so that the enemies cannot uni gain. On top of that, she awakens into Confuse and Prohibit resistance and gives you light defense. Golly guacamole, holy shit. This is a TH monster, so you throw this on a racing treasure hunter in guild battle, and this is the monster that you want. She is a 10 out of 10 top. I would say even that she is mandatory if you are a treasure hunter racer and that is your role in guild battles. She is 100% mandatory and will retain her mandatory status for probably at least another year or two, if not 3. She is incredibly powerful, incredibly strong. You don't pass up on this monster. Unfortunately, there is no way to guarantee her. She is just a 50% chance from this. But just be aware that they may come up with like another older spawn. If they come up with another older spawn where you can get Kroit, try to get Kroit, especially for guild battles. Let's talk about these. So you can spend like $25 and get a guaranteed weapon, or armor, but you can't choose it. So it's pretty much a gamble. That's a wash and complete garbage. Let's look at the monster. Oh, it's a bunch of weird stuff that no one really cares about, like this monster, What does it do? No one knows because it's so trash. All right, moving on. Not really worth it. It's a YOLO. You can get there like a couple good monsters. It's not really worth it. There is a box spawn for just doing the general quests, and this is what it gives you for the first time. Pretty good stuff, honestly, especially these slates are fantastic for new players. And so that's the first box. Really what you're looking for is the top stuff. So you want quartz fragments, drops of ether, and maybe some of these are decent. When you do it for the second time, you get this stuff. You can get SSR quartz and same drops of ether, maybe some rainbow tapsies. Pretty good stuff. Honestly, you don't lose anything for doing that. You can get some cute cosmetics for your pets right now. You can get some cool furniture gear. And a lot of people like rocking the ghosts and some of the zombies and stuff year round. So you can get some pretty cool stuff here as well.